scary, given that we can assume also that their attack is going to. They know how to play Haven, even though they don't have as many players as you said as a team like GENG. They're going to know what they're doing on this map. So it's going to come down to the fact that GENG have a lot of data out there for Envy to very easily.
Yeah. And
it's like Envy, if they're floating Haven coming into this series, they're going to assume that GENG are going to be picking that one up. And so if they've done any research at all against on GENG's Haven, they're going to know a lot about what GENG will be up to in terms of how they're playing their attacking defaults. So that's a scary prospect for GENG, I would say.
And the attacking default is kind of, we talked about it a little bit earlier. GENG's very good at not setting a precedent with what they want to do. They'll have a few go mid if there's a mid lane on the current map they're playing, with a couple around the map, and then switch that default up. And you'll usually see GMD and Sean being quite a big cooperation couple there to be the one pushing forward, with Hwin looking for a side take and Mikhail also offering a bit of that initiation with his darts. So it'll be interesting to see how GENG gets in here. Their defensive side on Haven is their strong point. That's where we see them racking up wins. I believe they have about a 75% win rate on rounds for defensive side. So picking up a lot here on attack is really going to benefit them. They need them.
Yeah, and interestingly, something to note as far as the GENG attack is concerned is sort of their default tendencies. I mentioned this previously. There is definitely data on them, but maybe no time to go into that, Riv, because we are straight into the pistol right now, and we'll already see a very fast hit coming in from GENG with the spike going down on the A side.
Envy with 3 coming into the site. GENG just plows right through that one. We're going to be seeing if they can retake here. FNS looking to come around from behind, as you would expect. The Cypher doing a bit of the lurk, but down. Crashies trades it out, but who gets the retribution? Trying to get the ghost. Getting a little greedy there for a few more guns, and going to get themselves taken out. But it seems like it's just going to be a quick take on a GENG. Pulls the trigger immediately and does not let Envy get a chance on that round.
Yeah, great stuff. Really good, obviously, to start off for GENG. You want to see the underdogs doing a good job in how they start things off. And one thing, obviously, it's not as bad as it was. We did have a really crazy meta for a while when the Stinger was, a bit less expensive, a bit more consistent on the spray and the spread, and we saw people running and gunning with that, and as well as the frenzy, and it caused a lot of issues to stabilize after taking a pistol. But it seems like teams are doing a better job in playing these anti-ecos. So we'll take a note here as to how GENG approach this. They can also use this round to kind of start to set the expectation as to how they want to default and how they want to put presence on the map at this early timing in the round.
All right, where do they go from here? So spikes dropped. You can tell this is going to be a slow one for now. And I like the fact that they're hard bonusing on this one. They really don't want to buy anything, carry what they can to the next rounds. You'll see a lot of people going Bulldog sometimes if they're operators, and they carry that into the next few. But here, just a few Spectres. And again, walking right in. Envy's feeling like the retakes are going to be how they play these ones on the saves. And it's a slow walk in. GENG feeling comfortable in these first few, as they should. Shouldn't have too much trouble.
Yeah, looking pretty good so far. Just one kill from there, going Envy's way. So GENG able to maintain most of their economy, and a nice little flank there from Sean. I haven't spoken too much about Sean just yet. Obviously, someone I think that his gameplay is going to force us to make him a talking point, I would imagine, given how skilled he is. But enough about that. We'll have the first buy round coming through, Riv, and
all right.
And previously I was mentioning about the defaults of GENG. We can expect more of a mid presence and going into maybe C long pressure as well to finish rounds around the A site. That might be something that we'll see that's characteristic, but GENG will likely also want to mix things up. So this is the round to start to set the expectation. Yeah. So this is a pretty big one.
Blade Storm already there for Hwin. He's going to activate immediately, and they want to pull it again, trying to get that straight in. Paranoia stops Hwin in his tracks for just a moment. Sean is already in. Mummy backs up to get a frag for himself as Caboose answers as well, and the aggression seems to sting GENG a little bit this round. They recoup a bit in their positioning, calm out where everybody could be. As we take a look on the mini-map, it looks like a great push for Food is going to be their demise here, coming for Window. That's a double, that's a triple for Food, and that's going to be the round as Envy put themselves on the board.
Yeah, really well played there by GENG initially to gain that space, but when you look at it a bit more closely, there is this element that, you know, giving up sort of some of that mid presence and that mid control from Envy, you know, the B site's very retakeable, so you're not as worried about that. And because there was no defaulting, there was no presence or work done by GENG towards the A lobby side of things, we see that clears so much space for Food to get a very quick flank, and we saw how dangerous that was. His teammates couldn't help him. They were dealing with the retake from two other sides of their own. It's just chaos. So I would expect GENG to slow things down in some of the future rounds, but we're back into it. Looks like they want to go for some A lobby pressure to begin with. It actually looks like they are looking to send it on A, actually.
You have the Phoenix ultimate on defense. Food should be able to make that work after an amazing round. Really able to shut down the dagger, the Blade Storm coming in from Win. And they're going to work A again. They worked for them the first few rounds. I think they feel comfortable with the angles as they move in. The cover for Cypher's traps on the back are great. And it's a full retake here from Envy. They feel that once again. We'll see if they can use their util to get back in here. Full retakes, I feel like, have a little bit of a benefit to them. Yes, you have to work against the spike. That's the truth. But I feel like there's better return on your utility. Where you're going to fire it towards the corner, there's more likely to be a person. And around that corner, it's going to be Win. And they lose a lot of that utility to get from Sova to get back into the site. It's almost imperative for a Haven A take.
Yeah, you're totally right. That was such a valuable pick and some great space. Now you can see that Envy really very concerned about this. They have to try to clear that out. Takes them some extra time. Starting to make the effort now forward, trying to push through from the window. GENG looking good on the defense so far. And Envy, they are looking to back away here. They've lost a lot. They haven't really gained much for it. And so they have to call it. The save is there. And looks like they should be able to get away with all of these rifles. And GENG, they've done a good job here. And this was all about the retake, just like you said, you know, Riv. Envy realized what was possible. They kind of set up for it. They had the ability to have all of that utility early on. I think this is one point that we should make clear to people as well, is that when a team plays really fast into a site, if you as the defenders do just give it up and play retake, you have full utility at that point in the round. Nothing's been expended, so that usually will help massively on your chances for a retake.
Yeah, it's okay to take it slow. Just the added pressure feels good once you realize maybe they saw me, but now they have to worry about me. They know I'm here and my team has an advantage to maybe get around the backside. We're starting off Food and Win on the top for both of their teams. We've seen the ultimates already from them as everybody's coming up and has them on deck. We'll see if the alt orb plays are coming to be. It looks like there might be one here for the side of GENG as they make their way towards long. Two of them working towards long C. Looks like this is going to be the first time towards the C site, Dan. We'll see how they play it.
Super fast round yet again. Really fast pacing coming from GENG. And this time, Envy with more of a defense, trying to actually hold on to the backside of the site, behind the cage, behind the dark cover. It's working out so far. Mummy able to hold on to position. Now they're able to maybe push position. There's no space for the spike to get planted. They have to fight their way out of this one. Mikhail is going to do just that, but not for too much longer. Caboose and Crash, he's still on the site, and they'll be able to lock things down. So, really good defense from Envy. They were not giving up the site for free this time, and it worked out. Does GENG slow it down now? They've had really fast rounds. This would be maybe a timing on the next spy to go for a slower play.
I think it's a great call because you saw how fast you have Envy rotating around. Caboose gets there, blast packing over the trap at the backside of C that Cypher had set up, and wait for that. Why not? Look for them to be always pushing forward, and you can take them out here again. I mean, we know Envy for doing that, right? They don't really have a defensive side. They just have offense. If they have blast packs as well, you'll see them going forward. Here, it's going to be a little bit onto B. Sean gets spammed down, or Sean spams Mummy down, rather, as Crassy's trades one back onto Hwin. It looks like B may be a touch-and-go thing here for GENG, as they just want to get the scatter on Envy to see if any of these sites are open, and I'm sure GMD is making that call right now.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I think that Envy's doing a good job in reacting so far, using the drone to get that mid-round information on the A-long position. Actually, I don't think it spotted anything, and there's that lurk you were talking about from GMD creeping up. I think he got past the cam as well, and now it's going to create a lot of issues. He's going to be able to get himself using the alt TP all the way over to the A site, and in terms of a positional thing here, GENG have completely outplayed Envy because of that lurk from GMD. That really created a lot of issues, and you know, we saw that GENG capitalized on some of that conditioning already. We saw, once again, that really fast pace. They were putting a lot of pressure towards B. So the sense of urgency is huge because you're expecting them to actually go for it. So that pulls a huge defender rotation. which allows GMD to creep up into C. Then you're wondering, okay, they're resetting, but what are they doing? We've just lost so much info because we had to give up A and C because we thought they were going to hit B, and then that gives the whole map for GenG to play with. So that's GenG's default and kind of attacking strategy. It's working out so far.
And honestly, against Envy, when you know they're going to be aggressive, why not get them off their first angle or how hard they're pushing? Make them think a little bit different, because once they feel like they're in control, Envy will take over the game. So I love what you're saying. GenG's kind of trying to scatter Envy at the beginning of the round, and it's been working so far as we get around 7-4 to 2 here. Buys on both sides. And this is going to be a second round loss if it comes in for Envy. So they're going to look at 1,400 on their scoreboard on top of what they have now. So not really in a buy phase if they go to this one, maybe with light armor if they want to, if Envy loses this round. So things could be starting to get tight with economy as GenG starts to grab a hold.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Envy will try to do to adjust. Some early presence, just farming that ult orb there. Really important there for Sean. Get the run it back. Such a valuable ultimate. One of the most valuable ultimates. A 6 charger as well, so you can get it up pretty quickly. And this A lobby control is really important because this is an area that Envy could be pushing because they're expecting so much mid and C presence early in their timings. It's important that GenG keep Envy honest and don't allow them to just push that for free, which they're doing a good job of so far. So right now, Envy don't know what's happening as GenG kind of reset into what looks like more B pressure, but now they're finally walking A again. So really keeping things confusing as far as Envy are concerned.
Revealing area.
Slow play, just trying to get a quick reveal. Doesn't look like that'll tag anybody necessary. Sean's able to stay safe, and the A work is going to happen here. It's just about committing right now as Food goes for a quick peek. 2 ults ready here for GenG if they want to activate right close to the site. If Spike is down, they have a huge advantage with the Hunter's Fury. And the first few shots have to count. There it is. They use it right away to cause the chaos. Both ultimates snapped at the same moment to cause Envy to think twice, and it works. 5v3 here. It's a retake if they want it.
You have to credit GenG for playing a really good attacking side so far. Again, we saw them setting the default, setting the early timings of the round, where they're going to be. Then we saw them creating this situation where they slow it down just enough, where Envy gets kind of scared because Envy want to push the extremities, but they know that there's an information trap set up for them if they do that, because GenG are slowing things down, so they're going to catch that. And so then they're keeping Envy in this position where they've lost information and they can't get it back, and without a huge risk. So, and then now they're playing, GenG just following up by playing the positional game super well, and they're winning on positioning. That's perfect if you're an attacking team, because you're not relying on just mechanical fights.
Yeah.
And so now Envy, they've got to do something here. They've got to get aggressive to try to just throw a wrench into the mix.
Ooh. And that's gonna put a hurting on the money. We did see one person over there on the side of Envy with quite a bit of cash. But you can see the Spectres coming out. We expected this to be a round that was gonna be hurting for money. Mame was saving up. Mame's usually a guy that'll buy a Bulldog, hold that forever. And Bulldog to Operator is something you'll see commonly. I love that combination. It feels like a very similar peaking pattern. Peak, get out, and the transition right there, if you need to drop to somebody or buy next round, just works out really well. You feel set up for it. He's going to try here from lower to see if that calibration is ready for himself.
I love this too, just putting the Operator on a position like A short. Also with Omen, you can see he's playing an angle where you can TP out. This, obviously, Jet can do the same thing. Reyna, if she gets the kill, can dismiss. And there's Caboose around the corner using the Showstopper, trying to find ways to get value. We talked about this sense of urgency for Envy to try to take control of something early on and just put the aggression on. And they're trying to do it around A lobby. This is the response. GenG realized that there's so many players there. They're going to push B. Great defensive shot coming through from Kratchis. He's got to hold on for long enough. Food is there with the Bucky looking for some fun. And the Bucky's not good enough this time. GMD to take him down, and it's looking rather grim here. GenG, they've got so much to work with. Just splitting off onto the C site, keeping Envy on their toes. And now it's a 3 versus 2 off the plant scenario for GenG.
Imagine if that's a Phantom and not a Spectre off of being forced into somewhat of a half eco round. It's, oh, that shot there. You just feel jaded by the gun when you see that large spark come off his head, but that still means he's low. Doesn't matter. Mame's going to overkill on that one with the Operator. And Caboose He's going in. He's got a blast pack. Blast pack with the Bucky. He's feeling confident right now. You can absolutely make a play here. Maybe right into the window. Makes a little bit of noise. Oh, the trickster gets him. GMD goes down. Win trades back onto Mummy, and it's just going to be a back and forth here. Taunt him out. Half defuse. Pros don't fake. Pros don't fake. Oh, he has to get off knowing the peaks are coming in from Win. Turns his head as Caboose tries to duck. But Win hits the brim of his cap and knocks it all off together. There it is, 6-2 now. I said that this was going to be a tough map for Envy, but also that Gen G usually grabs most of the rounds on defense. So this one seems all but wrapped up if they play to their statistics.
Yeah, it's such a great attacking half. I can't really stress it enough. They're just doing such a good job controlling the information game. And then that allows them to win the positioning game. And then when they're making these moves on the fly, when these kills are getting traded, they're just making good decisions as a team. And we saw Envy trying to invest a lot on A lobby last round to get the initiative early working in their favor, but that didn't work out either. And so now they're kind of struggling. We get the early Hunter's Fury there from Crashies. It's a great angle. Able to punish, and we can see that there's a reaction from Gen G trying to charge into the C site. Finesse able to defend there as well. And now finally, Envy, coming off the better of these early exchanges, having to use an ultimate for it, but still 3 versus 5 for Gen G, and they got to try to work the positions that they have here, Riv.
What an interesting round. Envy is staying on their own side. I don't know if I've seen this before. That's working out for them, though. They're letting Gen G come to them. One of the benefits of being on the defending side, and Envy definitely do a little bit of a paradigm shift here in how they consider the approach. Little damage over. No, Kusa doesn't take anything on that. He will have a good bit of utility. 45 seconds left. Feels like the world if you know what you're doing. He has a lot of time. One to the right. Grabs a bit of info. But they just surround him from everywhere. 3 for Crash. He's there. Envy's starting to feel good as they pull back. You got to be careful around these rounds when everybody starts getting their ultimates ready. They start stringing those together between teammates from round to round. It starts to really change how the game is flowing.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see that we'll see a play from Food here with a run it back, maybe some kind of a setup towards A lobby to try to once again take that early control. And actually looks like he's gone back towards mid, which makes a lot of sense given the fact that Gen G's defaults often start with this early timing, heavy presence around the middle area of the map, and then they go back to A later on. But they're mixing things up a lot here on Envy, really keeping them guessing, charging towards the safe site, and Finesse sitting in the cage. The daggers come out. Oh, was actually going to whip the right click, allowing FNS to survive for longer.
Push mid already.
They can't deal with this position. They're stuck right now. They can't gain ground. Envy are defending very well, and there's just nothing left.
What?
Just like that. Open and shut.
That was just a read and a half. There were 3 mid to start, instant transfer over to A once nothing was seen, and the team collapsed. You saw Caboose into the window 5 seconds into the round, blowing up the Cypher gate on the back. You had the call into sight because all the action was there, and if it didn't happen right away, Caboose was he was there on the end, being the Caboose, as he should be. Everybody you can see participating on the scoreboard there for Envy around the board to get this game back into their hands. And again, they'll do that little bit of a push down. Uh-oh.
And there you go. It's going to work out beautifully well for Envy. You know that at these early timings of the round, it's going to be quite likely to find these Gen G players. I'm liking that Envy have the confidence to make some plays. You can see that they know how to coordinate around their utility to do so.
Yeah.
And Gen G, they don't have anything left here. The spike is down in grass. It's in no man's land. There's no real way to recover that without hitting some crazy shots. Cruz is going to work on that, but he's only good for the one right now. And GMD, all he can really do here is do some extra damage to the economy of Envy, but he won't be able to accomplish that. Okay, and this is what you're looking for. Gen G, they do a great job playing the information and position game. Then we get Envy having enough of that, using their confidence, and just tackling things head on at the start of the round.
And how is the last round played? 3 strong towards A here. Nothing on B this time. So it looks like they actually are gonna get a flash down curveball towards long C. Maybe a quick push down. You see a Cypher trap on the site in a few spots. It feels like a retake. And Spike's getting work for Gen G towards that mid area. So it seems like it's just a slow default round for them. They won't
Back
decide
to the
push.
basics.
Yep. There's the Hunter's Fury.
Caboose. Oh dear. Able to get that one. Sean, great entry from him. The run it back pops immediately straight towards C Link. Will get dropped, but there is control towards A Link here for GENG. That's really important, getting extra post-spawn control here on this site. Trace coming through as Envy force the issue. Looking to try to find a way onto that B side. It's not happening just yet. And again, they're having to deal with these forward positions. But Win here just waiting. Why A-Link is just wasting so much time, and he's still alive. That's allowing so many individual fights to go the way of GENG here.
And they're just picking them apart. They're not. There's too many angles for Envy to look at here in these rounds that GENG starts to get a hold of. Into the site comes FNS and one more. That's food. They're going to be able to drop the 2. It's now a very big possibility they get this round. The defuse now to 90%, and that's the lock-in for a 6-6 first half.
Switching sides.
What a great game we have right off the bat here, Rip. This is what you want to see. You know, GENG clearly doing their homework, and I think I really have a sense that Envy knew what they were going to be up against here in terms of the attacking side of GENG. Yet still, they struggle, and it's just because of GENG walking into this game with just quality, just confidence and quality. They've clearly done their work, and they've gotten off to a great start. And like you said, GENG on that defensive side, they've got a lot to say for themselves. So with a start like this, 6-6, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Not at all. Not at all. We'll see if their defensive stats stand true here for GENG. They can grab their first map that they picked themselves. And coming from attacker side, this feels pretty good here. We start things off. GMD is going to see a few down towards long. He'll call that out, and it does look like there's a bit of a push already here for Hwin. Why not? Being the Jet, you want to try to cause chaos right away, and they'll see him. So he can create the pressure here, hang out, and maybe draw a little bit of pressure as the team sets up a little more utility. So drawing some nice time to stall out Envy to start here from Hwin's push.
Well, poking and prodding, sending out the feelers, but it looks like finally Envy looking to gain some more control here. GENG, though, moving straight forward into the fight. They do not care. They want to win it in Garage, but it's going to be even trades more or less. GENG, Iron Man down in Crashies, has found his way to the back of B. Oh, he's giving his position away. That's an opportunity for Win. One that will not be seen through to the end, unfortunately for him. And Envy, they're going to see it through to the end. Picking up the pistol just as GENG did in the first half. And it's going to be interesting to see a different look on this attack default from Envy, because they don't play the same style that GENG do.
Nope. I mean, you saw them right in the site there. They're like, oh, gain more ground. That's what we want to do. Already pushing through, back of site, going to spawn from C. Yeah, they want to get in your face immediately. Obviously, buys for them. We'll see what GENG decides to do. We have seen teams going for the buy just with the way you can econ the first few rounds if you're feeling comfortable with possible light armor on your first gun buy. But they go straight eco, stack on C.
Straight into the action once again. They're just charging down. Oh my god, that's scary. Everyone from GENG is just on the chase right now. And well, that's a free A site, which has been confirmed by Envy. GENG, though, they feel dangerous right now, moving in a pack.
Love to see that camera pulled back so they can get into sight as fast as possible. The dart was used to get down C, but that gun in a death ball could be very, very useful. A bit of a rotation. You're still going to have Sova come from the other side so they can get an efficient dart down into the site when necessary. Shots getting fired here. Food cleans up 20 HP, finds a third one. His second 3K coming up quick in this match. And just a troll from FNS as he's creeping up on Mikhail there. They get another round for themselves. 8-6 as Envy takes the lead and some expected rounds after pistol. And see if it happens here again. That was a full save for GENG, so they're coming out firing here on the third round of second half.
And it's a scary prospect too. Food's the guy picking up a lot of these anti-eco kills, and that's going to have his run it back available immediately against the first gun round of GENG on the defense. So GENG are in a somewhat of a scary position here. They know they're up against this bonus round. There's a lot of Spectres in play. There's a run it back in play. So they've got to be thinking to themselves, what do we think is most likely from Envy to, to make best use of that ult and these Spectres? And Envy kick off the pressure, taking garage control. They don't have to finish onto the C site with a split. We'll see, though, that is exactly what they're going to do. Not messing around. There's the run it back. Great paranoia. That's going to deal with that. And it allows GMD to keep position as Kusta tries to maintain that backside control at the same time. But Caboose denies it all.
Caboose thriving in the chaos of the site right now. That's going to be a hot foot for Hwin as he goes down. Nice hot hands from Food. And now they're just trying to figure out where the stragglers could be trying to come from here on the flank. You see going straight back down towards C. Envy gets positions covered everywhere. And Gen G may be losing a little more control than they like here in the game. You know, Envy, the first seed, playing against the 8th, expected to do well this game. But looking at that, 75% win rate for defensive side for a Gen G recently. You expect that to come into play here. Maybe they just need to figure out what the precedent is that Envy is going to be setting. We saw aggression in the first half. Envy sat back to Gen G's and it started to turn a bit. So maybe that's the plan they deploy.
Yeah, it's really scary as well when you're playing against these bonus rounds, because if they do manage to get a site take on you, they get on top of you, and you can't hold onto the site.
Yeah.
Defending the retakes is not as bad as you may first think, because the Spectres, you can play them from close range around the choke points. There's a lot that you can do, and it's very difficult to deal with. So it's definitely tough times now for Gen G.
Yeah.
Not too much to work with, and they have to save. They've got the couple Vandals in play, of course, but other than that, it's hard to see them having success in this round. We'll see what those win conditions will be as the round progresses, as maybe they find some early opportunities. But Envy, they are one of the most consistent and strong teams in the business, and it's because of the way that they play their attacking side as well as their defensive side. They don't try to take the gambles. They try to work the information and positioning just like Gen G did so well in the first half.
An attack pause being used here just to shore things up. And look at Gen G's buy here coming in. They may choose to do a few more things. It's a little off, but protecting what these Vandals will be. You can see they're putting them in the same site. That'll be Vandal retake if that is necessary. And it'll be a pretty good one, as obviously he's going to run out of the site now. Okay, Sean. Thanks. Thanks, Sean. But yeah, maybe they just want to split up the power, get a first push out here, cover him to get some shots down. Mikhail's going to be alone in the site as he works this.
Yeah, you can see that they were looking to make a play, Gen G that is, on the defense with a couple Vandals in that mid position. They had the ability to split with the garage players, but you can see Envy are keeping it safe. They're watching for these pushes. They're using the drone, the boom boss. They're just using all of their utility to keep everything as safe as possible to prevent their opponents from surprising them. It's up to Gen G to be creative in a situation like this, and it's Hwin to replace this position that maybe Envy feel like is clear, but we'll see how diligent they are. Hwin jumps around the corner looking for Caboose, but Caboose is just a little bit too far away.
I like it. I was kind of hoping they got a lot closer before, like, the Vandals surprise was, you know what I mean, shown. They haven't really shown that they do have those Vandals coming in for themselves here, but they are avoiding Gen G in that buy very accordingly on the side of Envy. Now getting themselves into C site. Showstoppers there if any trouble comes of this round. So it looks like another round here for Envy, and this is that buy for Gen G.
30 seconds left.
With 2 Vandals on some, and they're just trying to squeak out whatever rounds they can here. They know once Envy gets a stranglehold on the game, it's very hard to get back in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things, too, where we saw that Gen G were calling the shots. They had that good start, and they were able to really capitalize on sort of how they were conditioning the defense. And that's the same kind of situation that Gen G are in now. Then they're in this position where they're going to have to find a way to take the initiative, take the game away from Envy's default, and that's going to be very tough to do, and it is going to require some element of fortune and some element of somebody being creative and really finding just a great performance individually. And in terms of the ultimate economy, Caboose is sitting on a showstopper right now, and that's kind of a scary prospect. Sean is able to, if he's able to get hold of an orb, which he will be playing for that A-long orb, can get a run it back, but it really does feel like Envy is set up quite well to do some early damage here again. It looks like they may focus on that garage control.
I'd love to see this round pull out as much util as possible. A simple default, crash these plants. He also gets an ult on top of the showstopper you're talking about right there. And then they are really nicely set to just grab round 11 here and may not even have to use those ults depending on the shots fired. In Food, playing with his food right now, hops into sight with the curveball out, makes a shot happen before it goes off. They're going to keep taking a little bit more control here over C. Already FNS on the flank trying to watch window. GMD takes him down though, feeling comfortable, but now 10 HP, has to call for the cavalry before he makes a move. And Mame knows that is a very low omen in the window, but he's looking at the wrong way. Timing occurs, and Dan, this could be a possible retake. 4v2, there's the showstopper.
Nice by Caboose, not to overcommit. He's played it perfectly, and that's going to leave very little left in the tank for GENG. In fact, just one man left standing. And although Mikhail is going to be able to get one kill, it's going to be a tough ask to find the remaining two with the time that he has. These, of course, are professional players. They're going to use the clock against him. In fact, Food, he's found his timing, and Food is pretty nuts. That first entry rip, I mean, sometimes people talk about aim, right? And they're thinking about moving the mouse around, but it's the elements of focus and pre-aim and visualization there that allows Food to not have to move his crosshair. You can see that it's positioned perfectly as he emerges onto the site, and he just is so fast, his reaction speed, because of how he understands how to like visualize and anticipate and use his experience. So didn't even have to move the mouse.
So good. Just like that hip fire, a little hip fire there. Oh, no, I don't want a curveball. I want the quick kill. I actually thought he threw the curveball at first, so I called that wrong. Just all happened so quick when that gate came up. Food being that fast. And a few ultimates around the board here. We do have that spike going down last round. And you will have crashies with that Sova ult now. Caboose just being a nuisance here. Trolling GMD as he pushes long. And they'll be able to get big info off of that. And you know, GENG has to do a few of these things, right? They need to get a bit more info. They can't just wait for Envy to be on their front doorstep each of these rounds. Sean's doing a good push here. Imagine if, you know, GMD still just gets the long C. They have every info that it's going garage or mid. So things like that pay off, but Envy's ready.
They're definitely ready. They've played the pacing really well. We'll go back to that point in a moment because we can see that GENG are trying to throw some challenges in here. They're forcing the action. Very nice dodge from Win. He can't keep himself alive, however, as Envy have control of this mid position. They're able to rotate quickly, and they're looking to go for that C side. They understood exactly what GENG were doing, and so they know that the C side itself is open. Great play from Kusta, though, using the cage, using the trip to be able to hold onto backside. Key position to get his teammates to rotate through, to help him on this retake. Another trip connecting, and Envy is still finding a way to defend, but there's Sean in the 1v1. It's going to be a tough one, but we'll see if he can do it. Oh no, Caboose, of course, is waiting on the body. I didn't even recognize that in time. I was just so hopeful for Sean, but it's not going to be enough, and it's just a clean sweep so far in this half.
It's going up in fire, Dan. Look at it. It's on fire.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Hopefully they've brought the water. They can get everything put out. There's still time. Ultimate's here to be used. They have to be able to follow somehow. Who's on deck? So 0 out of 6 and 3 out of 7. So not even on deck for Sean and Mikhail. They'll have to rely on the Blade Storm here. These ultimates may just be forced out. And it's Envy with the Sova ultimate still. So if the plant starts to go down, there's a way to deter that on the side of Envy. Sorry, Diffuse, rather. And there's a way for Envy to just kind of play that safely.
Different pacing from Envy, and also just all walking up towards mid. Really, I don't think that this was expected at all by GENG. Envy keeping things fresh as they take control of B. They're walking through A link right now, maybe considering looking at the flank if there was some action for Finesse there on short, but he does lose that position, so they'll settle on the B site. They've got no post-plant positioning. They're just on the site right now. We'll have to see if I mean, they're hitting the shots, Rift, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Envy goes B the first few rounds, leaves it up to the A and C for the rounds in between. And they're like, you know what? Let's just train this one into B real quick, and we'll take the win 13-6. It's about setting a precedent at other sites.
When that comes out from GENG. So we'll see how that develops. And I think, yeah, so we've got Sean on the stage there. So, you know, there's obviously the talk of Sage is a very common pick on this map. Is that going to be the case? We know that Envy don't like to run that. We're likely not going to see the Viper either. But there we go. There's that Sage on Sean.
What do they decide? Yeah, it's all locked in, actually. I thought there was still a few hovers going in. They do the Sage, though. You're right. This is going to be quite interesting. So they'll have a little... I feel like it's almost... it makes B that much easier. Obviously, you could do quite a bit when you put a wall up at Pipe today, but having that for B kind of makes things feel a lot better. It's a difficult site to cover if you haven't done many post-run plants. You're either backed up by the boxes where you're entering, or you're kind of out in no man's land on yellow, and you're going to eat everyone's utility that starts coming around the corner. So I love seeing the Sage and how that's played. But and again, like I said, Dan, it's cool to see when teams aren't using the Sage, as Valley was pointing out before, and how that starts to be utilized now that things are changing.
Definitely. And again, we're going to see that dark cover made quite often to try to create some element of control there. We have a movement from Envy, though, otherwise, just towards the Sage site. It's just a single killjoy there for GENG holding on to B. So right now, GENG have actually a plan to try to fight for this A site. It really depends on what Envy are going to throw here on the initiation. So we'll see how they develop that. But they're also just holding their ground at the moment to see if they were able to catch any maneuvers, any information plays that may be coming forward. And the drone comes out. So they're going to get rid of the drone at least. That's going to spot things. And now there's a choice for Envy. Do they commit as the wall gets dropped? Or do they reset out of this? They don't have any presence around the map. So that's going to encourage them to pressure this A site and perhaps just go all in from this point forward.
Take flight.
So slow playing it. Yeah, everybody's still here. It's just going to be a huge swamp onto A site. Looks like they're trying to get over. They've all gone onto the rope to make sure that happens. Flank's not currently being watched, but they're not in a problem there since GENG's not coming around. Spike planted 5v5 as this round has been a little weird to start as everybody was so close and nobody has gone down yet.
Yeah, it's always fun when you see this, but you know, eventually something has to give, and we'll see the execution come back into the side here on this retake attempt. GENG using the cover as best they can, but they are going to have to get these kills. They are pressuring the Spike now, trying to get the time down, at least get it to halfway, as we've got a win. Just going for the fight here, up close and personal. Envy, just like that, knocking everybody down at once. Sometimes I don't know how you're supposed to cast this Riv. Everyone, an entire team just dies instantly.
And that's basically what it's going to have to be, because if you look at GENG's composition, it's a lot, as what I call blind and find. That's what they have to get back into a site, right? You don't have mollies from the Killjoy plus the Phoenix plus the Rays plus the darts of Crashies and more blinds, right? So it becomes very difficult. It requires more people all the time, or you just have to be hitting your shots because you have to hold the site with that composition. Retakes become almost impossible.
Yeah, it's certainly very difficult to deal with, and we're going to see the anti-eco playing out here, and seems fairly straightforward for Envy. And I like that we got just some play around B-long. You can drone that. The drone B-long is often pretty important, and we may see that quite commonly just because it allows you to gain information as to whether the defenders are playing close to the B-long position, because that's really important to know, because the rotations on this map are pretty huge. So just by spotting out some of those early positions, that's a big deal. And likewise, if there is nobody there and they're playing further back on the B site, then the defenders will actually hear that drone. So then they actually have to react to that. So there's just a lot of value out of that one piece of utility using the default. But we'll see what Envy go for here.
All right. Well, here's that push Van Silly was commenting on. If they try to get themselves up, it will be food first. And it is an interesting play. You usually see Phoenix will be utilized in comfort on maps. Okay, Sean coming up with 2 Vandals right there as he just throws the wall up, making it seem like it was safe to play. But having that internal site of A to run around as a Phoenix with so many corners and create pressure is so nice with the run it back. So can definitely see its return on investment here into the Icebox map.
Huge play, as you said, from Sean there too, that he's playing that off angle. That's a spot you're not going to see played very often. I don't imagine we'll see it maybe more than one more time possibly on this side, because it's very easy to deal with that. If you are expecting it, you can just jiggle it and not get caught by that. But again, the element of surprise is pretty huge. And now Envy are in a 3 versus 4. There's 40 seconds to go. They've got this positioning on the A side of the map. The plant will go down. It's more of an open plant here for them to work with, and that will allow them to fall off of the spike itself. This is going to be tough. You can see GENG using the numbers here, trying to coordinate everything. They know they don't have to rush this. It's down to Mummy getting a couple on the entry, and there is a beautiful paranoia. That's going to deal with him. Great damage coming through from Finesse, but is that going to be enough? Huge flank from Crashies. Trying to stop. He actually stopped running just in time. He might be able to do something here. I don't think he's going to get to the spike in time. Riv is going to be pretty difficult here. Just, yeah, this is not the angles. And that's going to be the round there for the Genji side. Very nicely done.
What these rounds are touch and go, and then a good grab on it will help Genji get back in on this one. But this start here from Sean was so necessary, and the retake together again. Power in numbers for Genji. You will not see them trying to retake stuff alone. And right there, three's a crowd as they work their way in.
And one quick note for the viewers at home as well. That position that Sean was in, it is that you do get the distance advantage. You see the opponent's models first. But again, it's very easy to deal with if you just expect it, because jiggling that is that you're not going to be exposed to anything else when you're jiggling that. So they can deal with that now they know about it. So you can see Sean is changing his position, and he's going to pick off one. If he goes for another one, this is kind of, that's brave from Sean. Didn't have to go for that, but he gets it anyway. Just, you love to see the confidence.
And the repeat there, so quick too. I love that you mentioned it. Just super, super confident. And that's what you need here against Envy, because they're going to be coming in just as confident. The left click isn't going to be enough. But Crashies is pretty hurt right now, as it's only going to be a few shots to take him down. Mikhail coming up big with a few. A nice job there, and he's ready for Crashies to be close with good comms from the team. A third one possibly. FNS gets the better of him. And lockdown available versus 3. It's going to be a tough one to use that. And are you serious? The quick flick shot to the chest of Sean is going to make it a little easier in the 2v1.
This is really scary too, because Finesse, he's a super smart player. He has enough time to rotate off. So there is a question for Genji. Do they try to just gamble and stay together on A? It's a pretty big rotation time. Do they try to play in the middle and retake together? So lots of different ways you can approach this, but they've decided to just play it safe, expecting that maybe Finesse was more likely to just wait and just force them to move and then go back into the A site. He's gone for this B play though. He has the lockdown, as you guys can see. He's going to pop that immediately, and one of the great things about that is it is going to buy him time for a full rotation on the flank, and that's kind of the purpose of doing this. And we'll see if it works out for him, Riv. It's bold.
Creeping on in. So remember, the spike's to his left. He's relying on a bit of the utility, and GMD with the Sixth Sense comes up big. A great play. You always love to see a little around the world from the solo planter on attack and trying to make that big flank happen by themselves. But defenders pick up another round. That's Genji evening it up here on the pick of Envy for Icebox.
And there's a couple points there as well. I just want to make it say something extra about Finesse's play there.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can wallbang this, spam this box, and where he planted it, he's created a spot where he's very far away, so you can't close the distance on him. So if he creates a 1v1, he's won the round, basically, at that point. Yeah. It would be very, he has so many advantages. So he set that up really, really intelligently. And onto another point, are they going to try to deal with Sean here? He's just getting these 1v1s, and it looks like that may not come into the equation here. Riv is a fast push onto the A site.
Crashies feeling good there. They quickly try to get the orb down and get out. And you're right, though. The kitchen play for Sean has just been easy 1-2-3s. They keep walking into him, and it's not even that he's in kitchen this time. He's in hell of A, and he's taken down one after another. Oh, Kusta from the top side, and it looks like Catwalk and lower is going to be a big problem for them. Kusta's shooting true right now, and Genji just stops Envy in their tracks on this one. Crashy, 3v1 situation, 2v1. Crashy popping him. Here's another shot, and he knows where one is. He just has to find the other, knowing they may be working together. That's the find. He knows both are just on the backside of A, but he's got to do the small peeks here. Holding an angle, waiting, sees one. This is tight, Dan.
Oh, it's very tight, but Crashy, he's making it look possible. Man, he was sitting on those two bullets for so long. It's just, oh man. Crashies, he's one of those players, you watch him and you think it's possible. It doesn't really matter what the situation is, it's always exciting. But Genji, what a great defense on that A site. You know, they did a great job in slowing down the push. They didn't have to play retake because they were able to slow things down enough with the utility. They could play just at the back of the site, and then when Sean gets there and the ice orbs start hitting the ground, they're never going to lose back sight unless Envy just win the fight straight up. Yeah. So now Envy are in a position where they're going to have to change the game up a little bit. They are on a save buy, and they've got that one Guardian. That's some firepower. And it looks like they're going for that B play.
Saw that. I saw him sneak that in there. We'll see what they can do here. That is, he is going to bring that in with the run it back. So maybe he just goes firing through. In the slow play for now. They can hear him over in B, so a slight bit of rotation is going to start happening as they're close up here. And you can see all of Gen G peeling back now to get towards that A site, but they're at yellow. Sean with the transfer. Beautifully done. Almost takes down Food as well as he gets 2 from GMD. And Gen G is just striking true right now as Win takes to the air, takes down Caboose, but he's not the last one this time. That's FNS trying to hold the right side, gain intel and info as the team was going ham on B. And he's now got to deal with Blade Storm as well as 2 other intel grabbers here to get into the site and defeat this 3v1 with a frenzy.
And there we go, gets caught out. It's definitely, Finesse is definitely a dangerous player, you know, much like a lot of teams that run sort of a Killjoy lurk. There's a lot that you can really do with that. Again, you know, I have to give shout outs to 100 Thieves. You know, Steel's one of my favorite people to watch in terms of how you play that role on the Killjoy on offense and how you lurk with it and how you use the utility and how you play off of your team so that you give opportunities to your team with your lurk. You know, if they run into problems, you know, you're able to get a lot of information. They create pressure, which allows you to have free position. It's a great relationship, and you can see that Finesse is, you know, by himself towards A at the moment, and there's early presence here from Envy towards B long. They might just want to take this position, but that's going to be rather difficult. Win is there. The trade comes through, though, from Mummy. Good stuff from Envy so far. Pressuring GMD. He's got to try to pull away, just barely vanishes in time all the way to spawn. He's going to stay alive, but are they going to be able to find a way back into a retake? Because it looks like Envy are going to have this site.
Yeah, again, not too much to be able to retake. Maybe the openness of B helps that Gen G squad with the Sentinel or the Initiator utility from Sova. The fact that you can get a few smokes out to make your own angles, but other than that, they don't have nades to throw around and stuff. So if it does go to A, it may be a little bit better favored here if they can play some off angles, but it's the scatter. Envy's done a great job of just pulling Gen G off original angles, and it was imperative that we see that dart hitting somebody and finding a little bit of info this deep into the round, because I feel like Gen G was up the river without a paddle, not knowing where Envy is. Plant in A, Dan. Let's see what they got.
Yeah, just again, that Killjoy lurk creates the opportunity for a huge rotation and to play off of this A site. Oh, a Killjoy lockdown coming through from Kusta. It's going to force the ultimate, the Hunter's Fury, which would have been nice to have post-plant, but that's going to be taken out of the equation. So there's 2 ults on Nullify. Does Gen G look for this retake? But here is the lurk from Caboose right in the back. The rocket comes out just in cover in time to get the rocket off. Didn't look like he had the time for that, but Caboose finds it. Now down to the 1 versus 1. And GMD has a lot on his hands. The jump peek from Finesse to bait the shots. And there's going to be enough time for the defuse from GMD. Very well played there from Gen G. Oh, wow. That was a close one.
That was super close. Also, Caboose playing with pixels there. I feel like that would have went off in his face, but he just squeaks it out. Awesome stuff to see this round. And yeah, Mummy coming up big there in the end to bring the team through. Whoop. Thank you very much. That's great.
Oh, wow. So close.
Sorry, GMD, not my man. I apologize. And then he gets another one on FNS, and they make it home 5-2 here as we come into the 8th round. Remember the first map to Envy, and what did it? You came to the conclusion that they won like 13 in a row, Dan, as we saw at the end there.
11 or something like that.
11 or something in a row. So it can happen again.
It certainly can, and Envy looking to go for that B-long presence once again, get control here. We saw that worked out for them last time. Looking a little bit more committed, however, and so are Gen G. You see GMD is just standing in the middle of the site. He's got support from Win as well with that operator. So not too much to be done there for Envy. They have to reset out, and you can see Mikhail is waiting for that. However, I don't know that they're wise to this lurk from Mummy up the tube into kitchen, but doesn't matter. Gen G are able to deal with every single situation, and they will close down the advantage 6-2. But again, you know, this is kind of what we saw, just as you mentioned, Riv, things turning around a little bit for Envy in the last map. So perhaps the story will repeat. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, so what are we on now? That's 6 for Gen G. I mean, it's 3 until you're on full buy. So if we see Envy go down here, they have 1,900 going into the bank for a loss bonus. Add that to what they have, right? You're not sitting on a lot. So these rounds here could start to just fold on each other in favor of Gen G. If this one again goes down for Envy as a loss, we'll see here. Round 9 is what we're hitting, and B seems to be the flavor here for Envy right now.
Yep, and it's a great choice, and I like this response coming in from Gen G, just trying to push down the tube into mid, getting a little bit aggressive. This early timing, Envy play heavy, as you said, to be long. That means they're giving up other parts of the map, and Gen G are trying to exploit that. Just relying on Kusta here to be able to get a kill, just delay, hold on, buy time for his teammates to get a flank, to set up position, and that's exactly what Kusta has to do. Takes down the running back as well as the kill. He's done his job. Now can his team follow up with the rest?
A great initial start there to just slow things down. Mikhail easily getting that, figuring out who else he has to fight. Gets one ping, but the boost stands tall in the middle of the site to take that one down. Still good spams. Sean, these guys are just on point right now with spraying it down, knowing they are hitting their opponents. And that one's a pretty easy one, but over and over again, you see these guys consistently hit it. It's still impressive. 40 seconds left on this round. FNS loves to play the clock, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do here. One digital molly up, as I call him, and he's waiting 20 seconds on that turret for a little bit of HP here, or for a little bit of help, I should say.
Looks like that wasn't audible to Sean there. He's on the site. He didn't turn it all on that sound cue, so looks like
does he shoot him right away is the question. Oh, no.
Oh, the timing. The timing doesn't work out. So sad for Finesse, but not sad for Gen G. And I just want to be, there is something we have to, there's an elephant in the room here with Gen G, in that they can get these leads against great teams. We've seen them do it against like all of the greatest teams.
Yes.
But the question is, can they close the leads? Because oftentimes they do find they are unable to close. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be something against that.
I mean, you pull up the past lower semifinals, Gen G versus 100 Thieves, 10-2 first half. That went 30+ rounds, right? Things you have to close out, times you have to keep control, and it looks like they may be doing that right here. 7-2, and they open up this round huge. It's going to be the Spectre, the low econ, so NB's going in hard, and Gen G, they'll take it. They'll farm this one up and be very, very happy with it. We should see MV coming up with maybe a short buy or the full save here, or might just be light armor. We'll have to find out, though. But off the bat, Gen G, we talked about it last map, Dan. Push up a little bit, grab the info. This time, they're getting even more with it.
Yeah, I think Envy are being somewhat readable here, especially not having the Sage Wall to protect the plants on B from getting wall banged from around the the tube area. It does make things a little bit easier to predict, especially as we see that Gen G have been dealing with the B long presence really well. So we're going to see Envy mixing that up to try to scrape together these last couple rounds. Sean has crept into a really forward position. Oh, Mame's just going to spot that in time. That's a huge pickup. And Envy, they can do a lot from this. Finesse lurking in mid still as his team pressures the A site. And Finesse can play a really late lurk if he wants to here. It's going to be the case, though, that he has been spotted now, I believe. So his lurk is not going to come into play as much as, in fact, GMT is going to just take him down. So a good chance here for Gen G on the retake with that flank presence.
What an impressive change in mentality from map 1 to 2. You can see the confidence exuding from Gen G here, pushing up more, being the first to take the 1v1s and not waiting. They're making me eat crow for saying this team's going to have a hard time retaking with just a blind and find utility. All the shots are counting. It's not really mattering what they're bringing to the table otherwise. Seeing a aim in. Oh, just the side peeks as they're both tiptoeing around on the bottom side. GMD and the rest of the team diving in as Win comes up with a Blade Storm as Kusta is the one to finalize it on to Mummy. And just like that, Envy is wiped from the site. And 9 rounds are over to Gen G.
Yeah, very tough retake to stop there from Gen G. There was no counter to the Killjoy lockdown that got planted. So at that point, you're just really feeling, if you're Envy, you're really feeling that sense of we're so far behind. We don't have any ults to counter this. We just don't have the the economy. We don't have the options. So that's just a huge advantage for Gen G to capitalize on. And 9-2 This is what you wanted to see if you're a Gen G fan. If you're a fan of having close series and getting more Valorant, which I think that kind of applies to everybody. This is definitely what you want to see. Bind is the last map if we do find ourselves there, so that would be a lot of fun. But until we get there, we'll have to see if Envy do find some form of recovery here as they really switch up the focus back to A.
And it's been since that first gun round. Their Gen G's just like, yeah, give us the Vandals, give us the Phantoms, and we'll win every round out on this first half. I mean, they're pointing for the fences. Can they get it here with this last one? Just about a minute left in the round. Lots of time. And everybody's setting up in a different position here if they were seen before or out of those default shock spots. You see a good movement there as they push up into safety. Everybody, it's the play to not lose round, and GMD finds the first one, takes a bit of damage himself as the team is nicely set up here on the A site. And they don't have too much of rotation yet. I like the fact that they still have Jet over in B to cover anything.
Sean is wrapping around 410.
Oh my.
Insane play from him. Able to get so much value and damage, removing all forward position from Envy. They are struggling now to get their way back in. Food, though, doing what he can to give them something to work off of, and they're going to push forward off of the back of that, looking to get this control of the A site. But Gen G, they don't want to give this up, and there's not too much for them to have to worry about. They can play off each other. You see some great positioning here from Gen G, that if Envy are to try to force the issue here, I mean, Food, we can see that he's walking into us. What on earth was that from Food? Able to find those 2 kills. As I was about to say, that setup looked like it was perfect to deal with him. And now just barely enough time to get the spike down. Is he able to hold on to this one? He's trying to hold it. There comes the dash for a win, and it's denied. 10-2 as Gen G against the clock, but it seems like they can do no wrong in this half rip.
Dan, it just seems like a bunch of master plans being foiled each round. You're like, no way Food did that. Now they have it. He jumps off, cliffhanger leaps, grabs the spike, gets the sight, 4 seconds left to plant, and it's like Gen G had it planned all along. The dive right in, take out the last 2. Movie ends, credits roll. Now, not yet, but what a half here coming in from Gen G. Can they continue it is the question here. Will this be able to happen on the attacking side now, as Envy has a chance to put up that defense?
Yeah, well, as it has been said so many times in tactical FPS commentary, it all starts with a pistol, and obviously there's so few rounds to work with. Envy can't afford to put a foot wrong. There's a lot to talk about if we do see Envy get this pistol and stabilize, and it's a lot to say about the way that Gen G are going to play their attacking side. But until we get there, it's going to be this, what looks like a heavy commit towards this A site. There are some options that are being left open by Gen G. They have GMD on the back there. It does seem like they're maybe actually rotating the spike out. You can see that Sean is also there with him, looking for any flanking players from Envy, but they're not going to see it off of their initial pressure, so it looks like they'll regroup.
One of my favorite turrets to throw up there. That or the other side wall for defensive killjoy, where the Owl drone was looking just now. Good coverage to start the site. A bit of utility used quite early there. Doesn't seem like too much return on investment, and Win, wait a minute, still alive. He put himself in the front of 3 people. He does not deserve that, but he goes up with a kill. Beautifully played, and now the rest of Gen G is unloading as they try to get into the site. Kusta coming up with 3 there. The ghost strikes true, and wow, what a dance that Win did there. Dead to rights comes up with 1 for himself, and Gen G is being the one causing all the chaos this game. And very much an Envy style of play that they're bringing right to him.
Oh yeah, you know, it's hard not to be happy about Gen G finding some success. Definitely a team that's the underdog in this series, and they have, just as you said, Riv, previously, there's been a lot of big leads against teams that they have sort of given up, and that seems to be something that plagues them. So if we're able to see them get over that hump in this series, what it says in the greater scheme of things is that they're going to be ready to, they're going to be poised to win against Envy, and they're going to that 3rd map. And we'll see if they can get there. They're going to be in a great position here. Once again, they are slowing things down. They start off that initial A pressure, looking to see if there's any reaction, any pushes coming from B long, any pushes coming from mid, and they're actually rotating out as well. Last round, they did this, and they went back to A, but this time, they're actually going to commit towards B. But I think all that stepping is going to be heard by Envy, by Finesse.
I like the choice though, right? Because it's an eco round, and you have to figure what Envy is going to try to do on that. I don't think they know they have a ton of Buckies on hard angles over at A, but they've seemed to have made the right decision, as it could be the B hit right now.
Makes a lot of sense too. They do have that Sage Wall, which is pretty useful in these post plants to protect that spike going down. And just like Kusa's going to find food on the flank, so all good so far. As GENG, in fact, they may not have to play a post plant. There isn't going to be a post plant really, as Envy decided to commit everything in to try to stop the spike from going down. That was their moment. Doesn't work out, and now the Envy. This would be a hell of a comeback, Riv, if they were able to pull this one off.
You know what? Don't put it past them. You'd love to see that hope in there, but it seems unlikely right now. GENG is demanding a lot of respect coming in here as the 8th seed to put up such a strong showing on the second map on Envy's pick, right? It kind of seems like, hey, thanks for picking the map is the way this series has gone so far, with Envy winning GENG's pick and now the other way around. See how they start this one off. Lots of time left as it just started, and Envy has to get that play to win mentality onto the front line here. Can't play not to lose. That just means GENG is going to be able to walk all over you, and this is perfect. The push-up is exactly what they needed. Early info grab, pressure created, and you make GENG play a little sweaty.
Yeah, this is great. You know, they know that so far GENG has been playing that early pressure around A. They're just like, you know what, we're not going to let you just run a default. We're going to just take the fight right there and then. They pick it up, as you say, and now they're ready to get, well, they're giving up the B site for the retake. They have the 5 versus 4, still utility. Oh, very well timed paint shells, but it was a fake on the spike plant there. Don't want to get caught by that util, and in fact, it's going to be Mikael with the shock dart to take down Finesse. So with that said, it's a 4 versus 4, but the spike has to go down. That means that GENG, they have to move forward. They have to start the action. It's not up to Envy, and what the Bucky is too good, man.
Feeling lucky there. They get the spams through, though. Not too many places you can hide in that situation. Looks like Ultimate comes up there for a moment before he goes down. Crashies with a beautiful shot. Shocked out. Oh, that could be a kill just outside, and Crashies. It's not going to matter. He finds the shot on Hwin. They keep the second map dreams alive, but it's still almost a nightmare. It's going to be a tough one to come back out of this. Things being dropped all over the place. They are trying to get all of the resources they can in the right spots, and we'll see this one more time.
Woo. Crashies with the Red Bull clutch, dude. This dude is stimulated. Look at that, just that fadeaway sheriff shot. Right, that is so insane that Envy have to win the round in that fashion. They played it so well at the start. They got the advantages. They did everything right, but they still needed a 1v2 sheriff clutch with that kind of a shot from Crashies to win it. That does not bode well for Envy. We'll have to see whether they're going to be able to stabilize here and make things look a little bit better. But again, it's this A pressure at the beginning. And you don't know if it's a default from GENG at this point, if they just got 3 players here, they're just pressuring, or if it's the entire team. And maybe now they can figure it out, but it could also be a fake rip. There's so many things that could be happening here.
Yeah, spikes drop. Good eye on that, and you really just wonder how much utility you can get out this round if you're GENG. You lost a few members. The lockdown is there, and now that the spike has been picked up, unfortunate for it to go down in such a spot where the lockdown could not be used. GENG a little foiled on this round, and to see if they still do it. The nest is held by Hwin, and how far can he go in this spot? They know, because Cloudbursts aren't coming from a jet on the side of Envy. So that is a very close danger that Envy has to deal with. Just on the rope, it's going to be enough to crash his hands back. Quick shot towards the bomb site. What a transfer! The team comes in at the same time to play every angle possible. The damage is dealt, and Envy is still alive.
Oh my god. That's so insane, Caboose, man. He's just like painting a picture, a beautiful picture there with that, where he's moving his mouse.
Word.
That's just crazy. Just the level of stress I had just watching Win sitting in these smokes with a judge. I'm just like almost tearing my hair out for Envy. I just like, that's just going to be so shocking, but they managed to trade that one out really quick. So
yep.
They're walking on a razor's edge, Envy, but they're doing it and they're making it look just really stable at this point. And they got to keep it going. And this is the danger point for GENG. This is where we have seen, and we've been discussing it, GENG needs to show us that they can close these huge leads against big teams and not let them back in. And now they've been rocked. They've been thrown onto an eco, and Envy, can start building their economy. Obviously, they can't lose a single round, so that doesn't matter a huge amount as long as they can get full buys. But it matters insofar as if they're getting clean rounds in terms of like the emotional, psychological advantage, they're going to start feeling more confident and they're going to start playing a bit more aggressive.
I wish we kind of had like a percentage meter factor, like if it was a poker hand, because if you look at what Envy has coming in on this one, they have a few ults up right now in the Phoenix and the Omen. They have the Raze and the Sova ult almost coming up. So the way they can be capitalized on round to round is how Envy could stay in this game. And it looks like they're not even going to have to use a few of those to get back in. Good shots from Food and the rest of the team as Sean answers back here. And it looks like one more round will be possible. How many after that is the question. GMD trying to make it work with the Sheriff here in sight by himself. It's 3v2 right now, and they got the work cut out for him. His Food has quite the round and the 3K.
Yeah, that was pretty chaotic. That looked a little bit scary for a moment there for Envy, but stabilizing nicely indeed. And the rifles come back out again. And so it's worth noting at this point that the defaults from GENG have been this A pressure, and I'm wondering if what they're doing that so they can kind of condition more of a response towards A, so they can get some free walks up mid, because that might be something that they would like to go to. So that's something to watch out for, like an early rounds timing where they just walk up mid. But it may not be the case just yet. They have a lot of rounds to play with. They can continue to set expectation as to what they're doing with this A presence, and that seems to be a similar story in terms of pace and where they're placing their players.
Little play to get the intel and flank out. Getting the flank for getting a Killjoy's turret always feels bad for her, so it's nice when you can find it right away and take it out. You always have to look a few more times. Alarm bot's there, so that prevents them from having to do that this time around. But we do see 5 ultimates almost ready for the side of Envy. They've stacked up the possibility here to string a few rounds together and add that utility of the ultimate if they really need to get that round in their favor. Mikhail moving up now from B. If the plant goes down, they could do as much as lockdown here, and that's what the position of Envy is taking up, right in the middle of B. Site's going to be taken. It's going to be slow. GENG wants this one, and they're going to play it patiently.
This is really difficult, too, because, as you mentioned, there's a lot of ultimates at play here, and GENG... Yeah, indeed. The lockdown comes through. Like, what is GENG's response here? They don't have too much in the way of ultimates here. They're going to burn them. The Hunter's Fury comes through from Mikhail. He's going to destroy the lockdown. GENG really want to try to win the round right here. Oh, no. Mikhail was actually going to take down Sean, I think, with the last bolt of the Hunter's Fury. And 3 versus 3 here. Envy, very doable retake. They have a Hunter's Fury of their own as well. There comes the tap to put the pressure on GENG. Straight in from the back, though, taking down 2, leaving it all on Mummy. A lot of work to do, a lot on his shoulders right now to save the map, but he can't do it. And GENG able to close a huge lead on Icebox against Envy. Beautiful, beautiful to the point that Vinsoli was making in terms of the attack. Will we see a sky? Okay. In terms of the attack here, it tends to be a bit more dominant on one side of the map, and leaving Kusta kind of lurking by himself. And that's something that is a lot more readable, a lot more exploitable. So Envy, it just feels like there's a lot more strings to their bow in this one. And for GENG, they're going to need to show new things to be able to take this one against Envy. There has to be something new, because what they've been doing on paper shouldn't work out.
Yeah, very true. Looks like we're about to get onto the map right soon. Bind is going to be your third and final here for your first of the VALORANT Masters matchups. And GENG obviously putting up such a great showing already. I think there were 2 or 3 fraggers on Icebox with 15 frags last game for GENG. So they were feeling it. Everybody participating in this. It wasn't just somebody carrying. And that's what you love to see.
One thing we didn't mention actually as well is that we're seeing that win is on Sage. And so, and there is a universe as well where we would maybe have seen Sky instead of Sova for Mikhail as well. So there's definitely some things that have been happening. So in terms of seeing something new, really curious with the composition, what exactly GENG will be up to. But as we go into this pistol, we can see off the bat already super aggressive play up short A here. And you can see them, they're not going too deep just yet. There's 3 of them, but they want to make sure that they don't run into a setup, and they know it's going to be B, and they've got position. Everyone knows what's going on right now, Rick.
Yeah, the retake cam is already there.
Enemy down.
Envy getting the slight push up, but then the teleport in as Kusta's just waiting there near Spices, and he's able to take one down. So now Envy realizes we were behind them, but now we're being pinched on defense, so we got to get back to our own side. I like the push up here coming in as well, though, from Envy. We do see that Caboose could make a big impact on this round if they decide to come back over to the B or A site. If nothing goes down here, a lot of patience here. Probably going to be hitting that 25-second site take.
Yeah, GENG are in kind of a spot where they can't not do this play right now, and I think Envy knows it, and they're moving in for that play. The ball's going to go up for elbow, but it's actually going to make it up there. And great defense from Cubby from Food for the double, which will leave things not in the best of places because the spike needs to be planted. There's not much time to go down. It's going to have to be planted in the tube. That's going to force Caboose to drop the paint shells. That is, oh, there, okay. Boombot not going to land, and Caboose has to take the 1v1s with a frenzy, and Mikhail's there in the nick of time. And GENG, they really had their backs against the wall there for quite a while, Riv. I mean, you have to credit them because I think they knew that Envy knew exactly what they were doing, and they had no time, and still they managed to find their way out of that difficult position.
Hey, it's a perfect call, right? As soon as Envy pushes up and they kind of saw that nobody was towards shower, okay, GENG's all over at B. How do we work this? And honestly, they work some magic to make that happen. Let's see where the ults are going around. Mikhail coming up 3 of 7 already, and a nice round for him is Food. Always making sure he can rush to those orbs. We'll see if he gets himself another one. They do focus the shower orb right away. It looks like Caboose tried to grab that. He could have gotten out with it, but they did fire back. Kusta heard that just on the last moment of trying to get the orb. Spike's down, though, for GENG right now, so all of this is just a util grab. Patience to see what the eco round from Envy will bring.
And you can see that Envy are actually gamble stacking towards B. They don't really have info right now, but they're making some guesses. And it might be because they figured out that there was Kusta playing the A side of the map, which again, characteristic of GENG's attack. Kusta's going to be the lurk by himself. So that's going to telegraph quite a lot. And so Envy are right with this stack. However, the teleporter play could be in order possibly here, depending on how well this entry goes. And it is some trays off the bat, but they have to back away. They didn't get the ground. They may have to reset this.
Yeah, that especially with nobody coming through hookah, it makes it a little tougher. You just have to fully commit if you're going to, and when it doesn't work right away, there's a pause. You don't have a secondary to think about coming from hookah. So here, that finally steps into play. They feel a little more comfortable. Sean's going to be the sentry here with 10 HP. If he goes down, somebody possibly trade. What a shot there! Does pick one up at FNS and Crash. He answers back right away before that kill can come through. And it is just a swarm of Envy members on the eco. Not even the buys, just coming in with the classics, a little bit of cheese on top, and they pick that one up for themselves.
Indeed, it's going to be really interesting to see what comes back out of GENG, though. Obviously, there's not really much in the way of money, but it always sucks when you lose that first round and not really feeling like you can force buy back and keep the pressure on. And especially, you know, now that the Stingers and Frenzies have sort of gone out of meta at least as much as it was in a previous patch, it looks like we'll see GENG erring on the side of caution, just playing for the economy, looking to perhaps pick up an orb here, maybe win a frag and pick up a gun. That's a good initial way to start things off in terms of goal setting. And a great split comes through here from GENG. The work showers and U-Haul at the same time. And they actually looking a little bit stretched here on the defense, but onto things fairly well. 3 versus 2 though now for GENG. Just as I say that, Finesse loses backside position, and that changes everything with the wall that Sean placed up. This is feeling awkward now.
3 seconds for the sonar. They get a little bit of intel off of that owl drone. Oh, a little duck and chuck there as he tries to put a curveball around the corner. They get pinged out. Again, it's pausing what they want to do. Sonar dart right over the top. Locked and loaded. It's going to be Food and Crash. He's trying to make this play. The combo that came to Envy. Can they make it happen? Oh, the double, the triple for Food. Disgusting as he cleans his plate. And Envy comes up with another one. They're going in on ecos, but they just make it look so clean and hit it with such impact.
Oh, that's huge. That's a big sigh of relief, I think, here for Envy. Food, as you say, like really coming out with just a ridiculously strong play here. That one curveball, so much money made from that one. They did not look like they were going to recover it, and that was pretty much a full save coming through from GENG. So that's very encouraging, especially if you're a GENG fan and their chances to make something happen with very little. What's going to happen when they have the full guns? But with that said, in terms of talking about the full buy here, we can see Mummy is on the operator. So I'm curious to see if he's going to try to roam with this or how that's going to come into play. But for now, he's playing fairly safe, I think, on top of the APC. And that's kind of a dangerous angle. But Sean, some spray through the smoke, calling it. They realize that the AWP plays have been coming out, and there's a punish.
That's a good point, especially when we get this many rounds in, or it's honestly only 4. But as the frags come out, you're getting close. One orb can make a difference if you're defusing, if you're planning, and getting a few kills. Still a lot of time left in this round 4. Hello. Mikhail finds something he does not want to fight against just yet. And Mummy with the operator here. He's trying to make a big impact on these next rounds, but he is now close quarters. Doesn't mean he's going down. It just becomes a little tougher if he can get the pick down. There's one, takes a shot to the back, and it's just the angle Food has that he is, GMD has that he's able to take one down.
There comes the curveball right at the flash. Food is just unstoppable. Beautiful series of kills yet again coming out massive for Envy. Just in the moment when they need him most, he's there, and he's getting every kill that is needed. The trade here on Mummy was so important. Mummy going down as he tries to cross to safety, and Food makes his way forward and just makes it all happen. And again, it was a round where GENG looked like they were ahead, and Food, the other issue there as well is that he's charging up these run it backs really quickly.
Yeah, that's huge, especially for him. He's feeling good. I mean, we just had the feature on him, right? If we watched that at the beginning of the show, and you may not know this, but history and features about people in a Riot game usually curses. So this is unprecedented. Food is beating the curse right now. He had a feature about him, and he is continuing to own. And it's awesome to see because he right now is just carrying the team along right now. He's the first one to the fights. He's going in. It's not even like his team has a chance to follow up with shots over the shoulder. That's just how aggressive he's playing. The tack pause here as GENG figures a few things out. It will be a save for them, it seems, coming in with a few guns in their hands to see if they can at least drop some of that money out of the hands of Envy.
All right, well, it's back to the pistols, and hey, they had a really good rounds on a previous one when these pistols are out, so we'll see if they can do something similar. We do have a different setup from Envy, though. Envy are actually giving up U-Haul control this time around, so they can... There's not going to lose anything by leaving that open, and they can play this setup between Heaven and Showers and make sure that there's no post-plant positioning for them to worry about except U-Haul and short. If the spike even goes down, and it looks like with some of these kills that Envy might be able to deny that. You can see the swing comes out, and that's trying to take the opportunity, but there's opportunities being taken by GENG at the same time, finding players with utility in their hands. And once again, there's just something about these pistol rounds where GENG are finding opportunities.
Oh, the TP comes in, so they know one Omen and a Razor there, seeing the uplink right quick. And the back. Oh, he's doing the switcheroo. All right, Win. Wall's there, can give himself a little bit of option to play towards sight, but he's now going to be running into 2 rifles. This is not easy. Shoulder peek. Just in time. Cat and mouse game played effectively. And I think he's at least got himself to the plant. Is that a nade over the wall? Paint shells. Here he comes. Take care. See you later. $300 going into the hands of Quinn and GENG. And that right there is a reason to bring Raze to bind every time.
Yeah, definitely. It's just Raze is just such a good agent. Just the satchels and the movement possibilities, just at a drop of a hat. There's just so much you can do. And well, it's going to be 4-1 up for Envy. It's kind of crazy because if GENG, this could be the other way around. If not for Food's clutches, this would probably be the other way around. So with that said, GENG hopefully are not losing too much confidence or steam here. And we can see that the economy is not perfect for Envy. It just really takes a couple rounds here for GENG to really take momentum away. And they're off on the full buy once again. So it's cool seeing Mummy on that operator on the Omen. It's interesting to see that there's no Jet at all. That's quite refreshing to see. And GENG, back to the usual default here. Kusta by himself, towards the shower side. They're going to hear the trips get put down. Envy, meanwhile, trying to get aggressive. Short B. Forced back by the paint shells, though. So Envy have that early B long control. They can grab the orb. Yeah. And what really counts now is, how do they develop into the mid round? And if Envy wants to try to make a push before they make the move first.
Here, watching Mummy again. I love that point about the op. He is super versatile in the weapons that he can use and still be incredibly effective. You see him on split, then switching to the Jet here. He's on the Omen. He's got the operator, and he's locking down B. I see him for a second. Oh, Daddy-O, where's he gonna teleport to? Can't make it just yet on the tail end. A Hunter's Fury's gonna miss. And GENG is trying to make their way in still. They have lost one member here. Envy still 4 ultimates to defend this site.
Kusta lurking back up short B here. Might catch the player out of the TP. And indeed, Crashies goes down. That's hookah control once again in the hands of GENG. Looking fairly good. If they can get the spike planted, they'll be good to go. But it's just about finding the time to do it. And you can see Food lurking around Garden's going to be able to deal with Sean. So now, if it was difficult before, it's even more difficult now, maybe even starting to feel impossible. Spike may have to be planted in the tube here. Kusta's having to come out of hookah so he can assist his teammate. That's not a good sign. Here's the TP as well, so there's additional pressure on the flank. There's so much to worry about here for GENG. So somehow though, Kusta able to take down Food as the challenge comes through. There's the showstopper out from Caboose, out from hookah. It's taken down. My God! Queemons able to find the double. That's unbelievable, considering that the showstopper was on its way. It all looked guaranteed for Envy, but GENG holding on by the skin of their teeth to keep this game alive.
Oh, that's that situation where you just say, I got to do what I got to do. If that rocket's coming towards me, so be it. Kind of just choosing the moment to fire. And yeah, you're right. The double kill there coming out. Everybody cleaning up what they needed to on that. And GENG, a very much needed round in what would have been a really hard third buy on maybe 2,400. Now they're able to have a bit for themselves. They come into round 7 with a bit more confidence. Sean rocking the showstopper as he throws out the default Roomba to clear hookah. Looks a little bit of push here.
It's a good sign too, Riv, because that round was perhaps the most standard a GENG default round will look. So that's a good thing that they can somehow make that successful. But look at the space that Caboose has taken here. He's moved up A short, knowing that there's very rarely any presence here. You can get up there for free. So there's a bait setup with a Mummy there and possible paranoia. It's going to create lots of problems here. Great setup that the paint shells come out as well. And
no way.
Taking down Win. There's no trade possible. Falling back with the boombot sent out to cover his tracks. There is no way to trade these kills for GENG, and they are in a dire position.
I love that point out, the bait you called, because as soon as you hear an op, it instantly draws focus. Oh, we got to take that out first, and nobody remembers to check the corner. What a round for Envy so far. Kusta, though, stepping out of the smoke with a beautiful quick snapshot there as Mummy answers back. He has so far been unstoppable, omnipresent at the B site, now the A site. Does GMD shut him down? Just misses the shot there. Heads himself over, but he gets pinged, so they know now he showers, and GMD does find a target. Food with ultimate there. Run it back is ready, but does he need it? Tags him just a few times. 11 seconds left. He knows he has the pressure.
Couple on the side. Can he find the kill? It's very labored, but Food just barely finds it. Of course he does. Getting everything he wants so far this game. 10 HP. As he taps the spike, he knows someone's Q-haul. The confidence is huge from Food, but this time is simply too much for him, and Mikhail will win the day. And GENG, they're coming back now. They are taking momentum away. And you know what, Riv? It's in the most exciting way possible, because it's off the back of just clutches going either way until eventually it's GENG that comes out on top.
Kusta, super big opening, 2 frags there. Everybody on GENG participating, and that's what it comes down to, right? When you continue to see people going down on those side takes, everybody else has to step up, and GENG's doing a great job of against Envy, who is usually easily trading their 1-for-1 frags positive. So you are right, GENG now swinging back hard. We're coming into round 8. It could be all tied up here. We'll see what happens this round. A little bit of love for A with Spike down, so big default to grab a lot of pressure and just make sure the alt orbs are not freely grabbed. That was close.
Yeah, big fight over this ult orb still. And Sean again actually finding the spray through the smoke. Always nice, GENG. Though we'll lose Mikhail on the other side of the map towards B long, and that kill's going to be reset, but the res is going to bring back, or rather create a situation with GENG are back into a 5 versus 4. However, the ultimates, as they stand, looking pretty good for both teams. Great pick up there from Caboose. Again, that ult orb still there, just sitting up, and the battle over it just continues as Sean gets the trade eventually. 4 versus 3, and with all of that action, GENG decide that it is the time to strike here now. So much pressure around Showers. Let's hit that B site.
Audio shot, nicely done by Crashies, playing the site, and it's just a bit faster for GMD. When is he not coming up with 2 back-to-back on these rounds? He's putting so much pressure on Envy right now, but it's going to be Omen v Omen is, I think, what we're going to see first. You have one hiding now. Mikhail in the tub. They're both actually going to go long here. No, switching. They can't figure out what they want to do. They know he's up top. Nice TP out. Keeps himself safe. Ducked inside that dark cover. Oh! There's not much you can do. That's always going to be a risky play there, but I like the fact that Mummy goes for it.
This is really encouraging. I have to say, you know, Envy are a team that have a really, really good defense, and so far GENG are going toe-to-toe with them. The GENG defaults haven't been too impressive, but it's more about just how they've managed the situations that are happening. And on top of that, they all have that clutch factor that's working out for them in the moments that were really important. And again, it feels like way more rounds could have gone their way if not for Food's amazing clutches earlier on. So this has become a game of the clutch, which is, I mean, that's always going to be something that you want to see. And back to Showers control again to start things off here between these two teams. Neither side wants to give this up for free. Just jockeying for position. Both teams trying to get more efficient utility usage out of this. You want the other team to commit more than you do. And looks like actually Envy going to give it up for once.
There's a neat little note there. You can see Kusta, he hasn't placed any. Okay, one behind him, so he one-trapped this round, saving a little bit each time, knowing he's not just going to put everything into utility, so they can keep that econ running. You need everything in a very tied game. Control there from Caboose, but he is still found by Michaelis. There's just too much to shoot that raise in the air. Oh my gosh, Mame. Again, another 2 back-to-back, possibly a third, and it is 3 striking true between the eyes of GENG. And he is just grossly unstoppable right now.
Yeah, really nice trio of kills to be found. Someone needed to make the difference here. So many trades coming through, and I love what GENG did here. You know, they worked around with a faster pace, and with all the Showers control that's happening, what they've been doing is committing defenders early in the round towards Showers positioning, leaving U-Haul typically and maybe the A site a little bit more open, and then they walked up A short. So they're creating a timing for themselves to move and get more position for free. And even still, because Mummy ultimately comes out with an insane trio of kills, it doesn't matter. But in terms of like what the thinking behind GENG's decision, I really loved it. And we're going to see something very different here again.
Oh, what a check. How much can he clean up? Oh my word, the family photo from GENG at long as Crashies peeks out and sees everybody. That's going to be a quick reload here for FNS. Good control over B still. Flying through. Oh, baby, that's the distraction shot. Win picks it up off his teammate Sean, flying through the site as Mummy cleans up Sean.
This is really interesting here as well, Riv, because we have a Hunter's Fury available, but there's also a showstopper in the hands of Caboose. So, and there's just a lot of possibilities here. Caboose, though, he catches the timing onto Mikhail, trying to reposition. Now it's down to Win. And we know him for playing Jet, basically, just always. And so it's crazy to see him on the Sage, but he's going to pick up an orb. He's going to go for that play onto the A site. He's actually burned a lot of time before getting the spike down, so he has to assume that there can be players already very close now. Yeah. This is going to be very tough for Win to win this one. He has 30 seconds to play with, and it's the dangerous game for MV2 that they don't peak too soon as he's getting baited out. But the action's forced. Win goes for the swing, and the rocket's going to finish him off. The boost forces the action with that rocket, and that's a wrap.
Oh, you know, I gotta love the second nature hand movements and everything. You know, you get a frag, you quick switch a gun, you go to get a safer spot. You're like, maybe I should have just stood still and healed. But he didn't really know how far Raze had gone, right? He could have been all the way up into U-Haul for all he knew. What a play there. A nice try by Quinn. in a tight 2v1. Oh, always fun to watch those. We're 10 in as we hit round 11, 6-4. Envy is starting to pull away just a little bit here and give themselves some padding. And in Envy true form, they're going to be pushing mid immediately. And come on, another twofer to start the round.
That's a great punish. Really nice positioning. Envy, again, trying to capitalize on the fact that short A is often clear at that timing of the round, but not this time. Envy, though, they still have Mummy in position. Will get dealt with, and it's going to be very difficult to gain ground back. You can see it's a desperate effort from Crashies. He didn't want to give up the site. He wanted to try to get something going, knowing how many players that are still left alive. It had to be go big or go home, and unfortunately for Crashies, he went home, as will Finesse, and that will be the end of the round as GENG, you know, just great round from them. They really, I mean, I love the idea from Envy to push short A like that, but the angle from GENG, just having Gremond in such a nice position, is the perfect angle to deal with that.
Yeah, and it's kind of been their setup, right? They drop the spike over by Spices or Market, they wait a little bit, and then they'll move up. And it's like, hey, one of these rounds, Envy's gonna be Envy. Let's wait for that and take them out. 6-6, a very big possibility here. Again, good fraggers on both teams. No one really being left behind too much. Sean missing out on some ults for sure, being that low on the scoreboard. Could be focusing a bit more, and we'll see if he continues to have a good series like he has been here. His team obviously fragging in front of him, and that's sometimes hard to pick it up if it's not coming to your site. 120 left onto this one, Dan. Lots to happen still, and another just spike drop. Play it out and see where the water's warmest.
Much slower pace here from both teams. Envy not really challenging too hard for showers, kind of giving it up. GENG taking control there, a little bit suspicious perhaps as well. GMD asking questions of short A, not seeing anything there either. So we will get a drone coming through from GENG up B long to gain info around Garden. So seeing nothing in Garden may suggest that it is a hookah setup. We'll have to see exactly how that information is interpreted. But we'll get pressure up A short here, looking for a reaction. Not very committed from GENG just yet. Slowly working their way forward, seeing if they can find a pick. And the action might be forced here. Caboose is going to hold on to this position. This is very dangerous right now, Riv, for GENG. They're just kind of stuck behind these choke points. They're taking it very tentatively.
Great little satchel up from Caboose to keep himself alive. That was a very touch and go fight to showers. HP is just being dropped everywhere. Sean still finds a shot. That's what he's been looking for. And a big entry into the A site. Peeks towards vent. They can't see anything towards that CT or that spawn entry for defenders. 10 seconds on the plant. And he's going to easily get that down. A bit of utility to be used. 2 more ultimates here if they could get a res somewhere around the map. And a nice shot by Crashies to open it up. They have full health coming in with 3. This looks very possible for Envy.
Yeah, recon dart available as well. There comes the TV from Mummy as well. Get some extra info. Sean with a nice peek and finds a second head as well. And GENG, beautiful hold right at the end. And you know what? I have to say, there was something that happened on the map. I think it was GMD that TP'd. Oh, no, sorry. There was a TP back B which kept the defenders there, and that bought so much time to just take the A site, and it forced the defenders to play retake. It forced Envy just go for the retake here, and that bought so much time to set up in the 3v3 that it allowed GENG just better fights. So really well done to just keep the rotation at bay for as long as possible by GENG.
And depending on how you're playing it, right, there's that period of time in the last few rounds when, especially in a game this tight, when you get a faster rotation. The other team's saying, oh, okay, they're going there. Quick, we got to get there. And that's, as you're saying, you play that little fake that you haven't been doing or setting a precedent to. 6-6. That's what we've been wanting out of this game. And again, GENG showing they do belong here in the top 8 of Valorant Masters North America as they take on #1 seed Envy in our first best of 3 series. We're on map 3 and we're on second half. Frenzies, ghosts alike across the board. And it looks like it is going to be a tentative B for now with a quick audible being called here. Oh, they're just going for runaway step sound, seeing if anybody's close enough. That's exactly what that play was. And they're still going to keep it here towards B.
Yeah, it's always good to just cut the noise because it does create a situation where the opponents might try to do something they may They are starved of info, so they might go get it, but here comes the play straight through. Challenges in through Garden, and it's looking pretty good to start things off with for GENG, getting some of those key opening kills, and it's not looking like any ground is going here to Envy as they try to take control of the site. They are getting gunned down left, right, and center. No trades at all, and GENG going from strength to strength. Again, it's kind of blowing my mind right now, Rip, the fact that the first half could have been way more rounds for GENG, if not for Foods having 2 insane clutches, and yet still GENG 7-6 up going into the second half. Once again, we start to wonder, you know, that whole story about GENG. Are they a team that can close these games? Because it would be an insane upset for them to get off the bat in Masters 1 if they were able to do that.
Absolutely. And the confidence it would give them moving forward to say all the practice we've put in, everything we've trained against Envy, against these teams is a success, right? That gives us the advantage. And you know you can work off of that. That's kind of one of the best wins that you learn from. They say you learn from the loss, but when you get a win this big, it solidifies a lot for the team and the organization. GENG looking great here as we start off round 2 of the second half, feeling good with Spectres. And they don't want to give up any free angles to a quick classic headshot here. So they're playing it safe with util until Envy presents themselves.
Just some poking and prodding once again. And we're seeing if anything will be given, but GENG 2 experience to allow for that to happen, and just playing the size, playing default positions, just forcing Envy to have to come to them. And given that the weaponry advantage is with GENG, the only way that that disadvantage can be mitigated for Envy is by using the numbers and swarming the site and using that speed of approach.
We're pushing the Navi strat here, Dan. Bring it down to 15 seconds.
Maybe it'll work out, though, because they are managing to get forward onto the side here. Miguel, can he stop the plant? He can. That's a big move, but still, Food is left alive. He can only do so much, though, with that help in the frenzy. And GENG convert the anti-eco. So into the first buy round now, and this is where the some of the questions, the big questions, will be answered.
This was where that first gun round where we did see Icebox take off for GENG. They were able to figure out what the deal was. They brought it 10-2, and this time they have the first 2. So more power to them. They're riding that momentum, and it looks like they're coming into this one big on bonus. Ares, Spectre, a few buckies. They're feeling nice and lucky as they come into this round 15. And where's it going to be? Win wants to get up close. An early wall so they don't have to worry about too much. I like doing that. Take a few things off your plate. Allow your focus to be with someone else. Power in numbers, as I always say. And a quick wall allow you to do that to start things off.
And Envy, you know, we talked about previously, they're a team that can pressure everything, and that's something that they will go to sometimes. And it does make things a little bit scary, because it means that there's a lot more options that they can go to. So you never quite, it's hard to place them on something. And so everything carries risk. Any information play you might make, if you're pushing the extremities of defenders, you never know what's going to be happening there. So we'll see now in the mid round that Envy are coming into this A split, and the majority of the defense here for GENG is around short. So we'll see if they can hold on to this against what is about to come their way.
The preparation comms are out. There was a nice dart from GENG down B long, so they know a lot of this hit's coming towards A, but how ready is that aim? Envy coming up big. Shots from GENG. GMD comes up, and he says, yeah, there's 2 here. I'm staying safe. Please come to give the assistance. They push him right out of there. You have to take control of the U-Haul area if you're going to make that work for yourself. And a quick TP causes a little chaos this round, Dan. The 2v2, Phoenix Sova versus Sova Cypher.
Yeah, and Food has run it back available, so that there is definitely a lot of scary things. Oh. Well, you know what, Crashies, he might just make this very anticlimactic. That's a very strong showing right off the bat. He's not done. He's going to take down the KL as well. I was about to get things up for a 2v2. We got the run it back. We got that post-plant positioning, but you know what? If you can just win it with a couple quick headshot, so be it. Crashies wins the day.
Yeah, a little disrespectful to run across there without any consideration, really. Kind of just like a duck carnival game. Hey, took them right out. I feel like they could have played that a little better, at least smoked themselves off to get across it. Or they had more time, you know. They did get into the site fast, keeping one watching that spawn area. So, you know, more power to Envy. They're figuring out how to get these rounds back here once they got weapons in hand. And a nice little dart. Ooh, a little different spot for GMD. Wasn't able to get a quick shot off there. So they do figure out that love for showers is still continuing. And it looks like it may be the play in. Orb's going to get grabbed as they keep it going. The Hunter's Fury is there for Envy. Actually, both sides. So we'll see how this affects the round.
Cover going.
Yeah, I really like the opening defensive setup from GENG, but we'll talk about more about that later on. The Hunter's Fury is going to come out, and for both teams, it's all over the place. Who is on top after this?
Okay.
Either way, and Food is going to use that space to go forward to get another kill off to run it back, and that's going to create a very, very strong scenario here for Envy. This is a difficult one. They'll have to find something, GENG, early on to make an argument for this, but that was the opportunity. If Sean picks something up there, I think they can really consider committing here. And I think saving wouldn't be a bad decision in this spot. But you can see GENG are confident. They're seeing if they can get another quick kill. But the longer it takes to get that first kill, the less time you have and the harder it becomes. And a great two-man setup there in U-Haul, that's going to completely shut this down. And there might be a potential that they were going for this rift because Win had the res available. But at the same time, it's that was always going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, especially with they kept getting separated on the entry, like you're costing a few seconds here, so it just keeps dwindling. Then you can't res because everybody dies so deep in the site. And it comes up for another round for Envy. Now, I said this for GENG. That's what they did the last map. They lost 2 and then won the next 10 on the round, so or the half. Is Envy about to put that up now? They are going to be up against the eco of GENG, so this should be a decently slow round. We're watching the corners here for Envy. Once they know exactly where GENG is, then they execute hard. There's one. FNS finds a kill. He's going to see 2, and Mikhail going to pick himself up a Phantom. We'll see how this continues to work for GENG if they can get that gun over to B.
Yeah, the delay here with the wall could actually be quite a problem. Right now, Envy, they actually need to move very quickly with whatever they do because the rotation's coming. And although the guns aren't great here for GENG, this is a problem. Really nice setup, though. The frenzy not quite hitting as they needed it to. And so it looks like the danger has been averted for now for Envy, and the spike will go down. So should be good to go. But Mikhail looking to cause some problems. We'll try to do some damage here. Oh, that's tough, isn't it? Never like to see that, especially how wall bangable the walls are around this position. It's pretty impossible here for Mikhail. Looking to find out 1 kill.
Everything of his just getting destroyed immediately. They're not letting him even blink or breathe out of the hookah area. Already smoked out in that situation, so just biding his time, may be able to hit a muzzle flash as it comes towards him. Oh, that's gonna do it. Soon, I like that planning. He's like, what do you think your smoke's gonna drop? Right about now? All right, dart.
Yeah, exactly.
There he is.
So it looks like Envy are really coming into their own now, finally, but back into another gun round, and this is where they need to be able to prove that's going to be the case here. Is GENG have an opportunity now to really switch something up? This is kind of when you would expect them to maybe try something else if they have any particular defensive setups. And already on the defensive setup, they're opting to play 3B and 2 showers, which I think is a really good approach, using the Cypher trips to kind of look after the short A position. But instead now they've got, once again, GMD in the U-Haul position, and they're fighting for showers. So GENG starting off the round pretty active. And there is a showstopper here for Sean. If he feels it, if he thinks there's a setup here, there could be an opportunity to use this.
He knows it's a Phantom on the other side, so he's trying to play it. Oh, just do it! No, he gets crashed. He's trying to hide in the corner. Kus is going to find another one as they're pushing up through that mid area. Nicely done. And will they be able to get a little bit more off of this? Mummy, always good for one to answer back. He's been getting quite a few doubles throughout the rounds. Caboose is in, tagged up by the tripwire. And a nice little stack here coming out of showers is going to try to give GENG the advantage. But things have now slowed down with members dropping everywhere.
Yeah, the showers players are really key because they won't have U-Haul control, but if they can have at least 2 places to retake from, that's great. And, okay, the wall It's going to slow them down for, well, in fact, it doesn't actually slow them down even at all, I don't think. Not even like a millisecond, so never mind that. But it will be a quick switch up through the TP for that B plant. And it's still a retake situation for GENG, but they have worse post-plant positioning, and Envy have more time to gain their own post-plant positioning. So that switch up with the TP is perfect, but still, it's going to be tough.
All right, Rez came through. GENG looking a little bit better here with a few heals coming through as well. Cypher, the only one hurt on the side of Envy as Caboose is pushing up, trying to play this smoke. That's behind him, and that's the perfect time to take the chance. Mummy comes out with the paranoia, but it's not going to be enough. GENG find the frags that they need, and is it going to be enough time? As long as Win doesn't slip and cut the wrong wire, they're good to go.
Yeah, and indeed, Win able to get the defuse, and 9-9. This is going down to the wire. I feel like out of all the maps we saw, this is the closest we've seen it, and that's just awesome. Both teams buying up, both teams pretty shaky in the economy. GENG a little bit more worse for wear in that sense, but looking at the setups here, we're going to see. I would imagine something slightly different in terms of pacing around the A site. They still have Cypher there to like plant all the utility around short A. That's not come out just yet though. But not having the showstopper, obviously, Sean's not going to be looking maybe as aggressively by himself for action around showers. So the typical default from both sides. You could control here for GENG as well. Envy slowing the pace down a lot. They're just sitting in position right now and just working showers as they have every round.
I love it. The double util. Camera, camera, sonar. Oh, the spam. How does your face feel? That is interesting to be coming through. Doesn't do too much. Brings him just about to half there. I shouldn't say too much. Does quite a bit. Tears that armor off and does half. So they have to be careful now coming from showers. Probably heard that on the other end. And this wall from Win, he tries to play at Food so fast on playing those flashes, getting out before they pop or after they pop. Awesome to see each time how much he has honed that skill. And we do have a few ults around the board here. Remember, GENG Sova ult is up. I'm going to see if Mikhail can use that to an effect to keep the spike from going down right away. GENG's been doing good at stalling these rounds to great effect.
Oh, and Mummy, that's a huge TP there, straight towards heaven. They know he's there. Sean with a great double. That's a massive play again. Hunter's Fury now coming through from Mikhail, trying to slow things down. And he's going to have a lot to work with. He knows surely the Mummy's coming for him, and he's going to take the fight. Mummy's going to win it, though. Sitting in spawn, creating problems. There's chaos everywhere. Crashing in the 1v1 against Kuster on site. And Mummy, again, the X factor in the round with that genius TP. Just finding every single timing makes the difference. Envy 10-9 now off the back of that. And that's going to surely force GENG onto a pistol round.
So many good frags coming in back and forth. You think Sean's going to just clean up around? He's been getting the frags now as he's been presented with them. And then on the other side, Envy just has the numbers to clean it up. 4 ults ready as well. I mean, Mummy's 2 out of 7. You don't really need the Omen one. So this could be a lot of rounds strung together if no ults are used here by Envy to take it, where they are using the ultimate from Raze, the showstopper for 1 round, the Sova ultimate to secure another. It becomes difficult, especially when you're pressured into the final rounds.
That was scary. Sitting in the dark cover, trying to catch Mummy, and he actually did. But unfortunately, not quick enough to the frag. 4 versus
Shorty just
5.
under window there.
Yeah.
Creeping around.
Oh, man. We've all fallen to that before.
Yep.
It's good from Envy to just take it slow as they are, because you can see they are slowly but surely wasting time, getting information. They're getting utility exhausted by the opponents as well by just pressuring things. And now finally they arrive onto the A site, looking good for the plant.
Close. FNS able to take down Sean there. A lot of util coming in the correct spot. Showstopper is up for Caboose, but he's going to make it work. Like I said, if they don't have to use too many ults here, it feels pretty good. Caboose does fall. Not a problem as Win with the shorty transferring over from B Hookah here to see what he can get on any exits. And you don't see too many people exiting here unless you're hunting. I don't think any hunting needs to be done. They're looking to keep all the weapons in their hands here. So Envy coming on to bind, feeling warmed up. Still being pressured super hard by GENG, coming off a great Icebox showing that they were able to come out on. Definitely didn't expect to see Icebox as a second map within this best of series, somewhere in it, but maybe first. And we've had both teams winning each other's picks here, so it'll be interesting to see who finalizes this one, as Envy is just 2 away from doing that.
Yeah, signs look really good for them, and the chances are diminishing indeed for GENG. But back on the buy-in, I mean, this is always the scary thing when you're on the defense. It's kind of hard to, like, you have to figure out how to throw the wrench into the works of a default, or you just have to play your defense better and tighter and just your setups more appropriately. But often what can happen is, if you're losing these rounds, it could be because the attackers, their default is being successful. So they're denying you information. They're forcing you to have to make really hard decisions. You just have to gamble because you don't have the info. So it makes it really awkward. And Run It Back comes through, and the Hunter's Fury. If they're starting this round off very explosively, and Envy dashing any chances before anything could get going with that B approach. Oh, man.
That feels so bad. You come out with guns hoping to put the pressure on and what will put you against game point, and you lose 2 immediately. It's exactly what you need to do, the type of pressure you need to put on a team to ensure you're winning the round. It can't just come down to spamming through smokes if the initial strat didn't work. Envy looking great this round. They had that set in their mind, and they executed right out of the gate. You see, they have 2 more ults left, too. So this could easily be a showstopper at round 12 if they need it. GENG in a 5v3 here, and they are going to go ahead and super save on this one to make sure that utility isn't used and can be brought in the next round as well.
Well, at least that's something. At least there are some guns to carry through to the next round. Right now, we can see that the showstopper is there in the hands of Caboose. That can be used next round. Neural Theft available too for Finesse. So ultimate advantage seems to be with Envy. We'll see. We'll get a better look as to how progress is there for GENG in a moment. But for now, it's certainly looking like a very bad situation. And that's it. Just one more round now. Match point, series point for Envy to just put this one to bed. And I'm sure that they really are very eager to do that, because it's getting scary out in buy-in here for them.
I think this would be a good time to mention that looking at, what is this, Challengers 2? Yes, North America's Challengers 2. Bind for Envy, 7 wins, 0 losses, 100%, 41 round wins, 13 round losses. It's going to be hard to take Envy down on this map, no matter who you are. And damn it, GENG's coming real close. 3 rounds away from tying this one up. Everybody on GENG fragging across the board. Looks almost perfect. 12, 13, 14, 15. But GMD just has to be that much better with the triple-double. 17, 16, 10. Is it enough, though, Dan? Is it enough? Edge of your seat now for GENG fans here in their first round in this first best of 3. And they got quite a bit of time as this round just started. You said showstoppers up for Raze. Caboose still has that as Sean goes down. Raze diff to start things off.
Oh, no. That's the worst thing. Now that full information coming through. Caboose there with the showstopper trying to punish. Big frag from GMD by U-Haul. Kusta as well delivering. That's going to even things up into a 3 versus 3 here. Minute to go and the spike is being planted. There is U-Haul control. The swing comes through from GMD. Oh my god, he's annihilating everybody. Mikhail as well chimes on through, and it looks terrible, terrifying for GENG at the start of the round. Losing Sean, the neural theft coming through. It can't look much worse than that, but they recover somehow.
Honestly, getting in there as soon as possible, the U-Haul take was pivotal. As soon as you have that back, you're making the opponent sweat, and that's exactly where all the pressure and impact play came from on this round. Doubling up with one coming from spawn there, as you can see, when coming around the corner on Sage, and they're feeling good. A little bit of pressure lifted as the sigh of relief, but there's still a lot of pressure with the last round in favor of Envy here. 2 ults ready. It could be helpful for info grab for Gamond and Kusta. We'll see what happens.
So we can see the spike is dropped outside the market at the moment, so a slower approach for sure by Envy on the attack here. Kusta getting tagged by the can. That's going to force him back. So it feels like there's more players showers right now than there actually is with the tag there, and I believe they know that they've seen Crashy's presence there as well, but he is alone. So Envy right now, you can see that they've pulled 3 players towards the A side of the map. They're moving towards B at the moment, so they've managed to trick out the rotations to give themselves an advantage attacking into B.
Oh. You're always hoping. You're like, come on, disappear, disappear. Don't have the range. Gets a good scene right away there. Caboose. Loving the Ion Phantom here. He just keeps crushing it. He's going to blast onto the site. They find Winda. They know that Vandal is there as soon as he takes a shot, and that's how Food gets the advantage. Loving the chaos. I said it before. Envy thrives in it, creating that opportunity for them to open up the door through just flying around the site. 12 to 10 here. 5v3 looking grim, Dan, as Gen G try the retake.
There is a showstopper, and it's going to come through right now. There it is, but it's denied instantly by Food. It's desperate. Coming straight through the dark cover with that one. Can't hope for too much for GMT. He's been amazing so far on Vine, but it's... Oh, no!
Oh, no,
Mommy,
God!
I can't believe you've done him like this! Oh, why would you do him like that? Mummy, oh my god, that's a way to finish the game. Envy taking down Gen G, and what an amazing series as well that we just witnessed. Everyone had Gen G written off, but they're looking like they're going to be seriously a huge problem for a lot of teams going into Masters 1.
The nail in the coffin, the knife in the omen.